Hello and welcome back. In the previous session, we've tried to understand data types. In this session, we'll discuss about data objects. Data objects can be broadly classified into named data objects, unnamed data objects. So named data objects basically mean whenever you're creating a data object, you give it a name so that you can access that particular memory by using the name of the data object. So I can store some data in the memory by using the name of the data object. Similarly, I can access the data that is stored in that memory by addressing to the name of the data object. Unnamed data objects are those which occupy some memory in the program, but they do not have any name associated with that memory, or they just occupy some space in the program memory. So they are not basically reusable. So you just store some value and that's it. You cannot access that value again in your program. Whereas with named data objects, you can store some data in that memory and you can access that data multiple times in your program. Let me give you an example. If I define a data object using the data keyword, I'll say data, for example, user type C, length 20. What I'm doing here is I'm defining a memory which we are calling the data objects with the name user, and I'm saying it is a character memory with length 20. Then if I want to store some data in this particular memory, I can access that memory by using the name of the data object. So I'll say user equals to, let's say, something. When I do this, this value will be stored in this memory. And later, if I want to access that value again in my program, using a different statement, for example, let's say I want to write it in the output. So I'll say write user. When I do this, the system will access this memory user, and whatever is stored in that memory, it will try to print that in the output. So if I activate this program and execute, it should print Kiran in the output because I'm storing this value in this memory user and I'm asking the system to print whatever is stored in that memory user. So here you can see it's printing that value in the output. So these we call as named data objects. So whenever you are defining a memory and if you are giving it a name, then that is a named data object. Unnamed data objects are, if you see in this same code, I am assigning a value Kiran to the user. How am I assigning this? I'm maintaining that text in single quote, Kiran, right? So this is an unnamed data object. This Kiran here, which I typed, is also occupying some memory in the program, but it doesn't have any name. It's some static text I'm typing directly in the program, right? But this also occupies memory. So anything that occupies memory, we can call it a data object. So if you are giving a name to the memory, then we call it named data object. But if you're just occupying some memory by putting something in a single quote like this, then it's called an unnamed data object. We also call them literal. So we'll try to explore the different types of data objects that you can use and how you define them and how you use them in your programs. First, we'll start with named data objects. Named data objects can be of three types. One is variables, second is constants, and third is text symbols. Variables, as the name suggests, are data objects that you define using the data keyword, and they can have different values at different times. In the sense, you can store something now and you can later change the value in that memory to something else. So it can have variable data. Constants are again named data objects. You give it a name while defining it. They are defined using constants keyword, and once you store some value in that memory, you cannot change that value. So they can just have one constant value throughout the runtime of the program. Whereas with variables, they can have different values at different times during the runtime of the program. And text symbols are something we use to maintain static text. So for example, here in this code, I'm maintaining some text, but here I'm actually maintaining it in a single quote. So it's not exactly reusable because it doesn't have any name. But if I want to have a reusable text in my program, then I can use this text symbol. So I'll show you how to create these text symbols as well. We typically use these text symbols while we want to show some messages to the user. So when the program is running and you want to throw some error message or an informative message to the user, then we use these text symbols for that. But in any case, if you want to maintain some static text, you can use these text symbols. So these are the three different named data objects. Variables are defined using data keyword. Constants, we use constants keyword. And text symbols, we don't actually define them in the program, we maintain them separately. So I'll just show you that. So for now, I'll just introduce you to these two keywords, data and constants. So we've been using this data keyword so far. So by now you must be already comfortable with the syntax of the data keyword. But anyway, I'll explain it again. The data keyword, whenever you want to declare a variable in your program, you use the data keyword. There are other keywords that define data objects also. But the main keyword that we use to define a variable is data. So anything you declare using the data keyword is a variable. That means you can change the data in that memory as many times as you want. So you can store something now, you can store something else later. So the system won't complain. So the syntax is data. So you say data, your data object name, type, and the data type name. So you can give a predefined type reference, or you can give a user defined type. It could be a local type, or you can also use a data element here. So I can say data user type and refer it to a data element as well. So as per your requirement, you can type it accordingly. You say data object name, type, the data type. And if you are using predefined types, you can also specify the length using the length addition. So this will create a data object. And there's one more addition that you can use. If you want to define a memory and you want to place a default value in that memory, then you can use this value addition and maintain the value. So initially when the memory is defined, it will have this value, but later I can change it to something else. Okay, it's just that the default value will be the initial value of that memory, but later in the program you can change it as you wish. It won't complain. So these are how you define your variables. Data object name, and type, say type and give the data type reference. But we follow a certain naming convention when defining data objects. So if you are defining a variable, we use the naming convention v underscore. So all the variables in my program, I'll define them as v underscore, so that when I look at the name, I can identify whether it's a variable, or is it a constant, or is it a structure, or is it a table. So you don't have to scroll to the definition to see how it is defined. Just by looking at the name of the field, I can identify whether it's a variable or a data type or a constant, etc. So this is the naming convention we generally follow. Whenever you define variables, start them with v underscore. Naming conventions are useful to make it easy for writing the code and for other developers to understand. Since everybody follows the same naming conventions, it becomes easy to maintain other programs. This is your variable. So you use data keyword to define your variable. There's one more keyword that we use which also defines a variable. For example, if I say parameters, and for parameters we use the naming convention p underscore. So if I say p underscore user type C, length 20, this parameters keyword also defines a variable, but the difference is that the data keyword only defines a variable. It just defines one memory in the program. Whereas the parameter keyword defines a variable p underscore user, and it also creates something called a selection screen. Now I have to change this to v underscore user. Now if I activate this program and execute, before I had the parameter statement, I directly got the output screen where it was printing the name. Now if I execute, it will first present me a selection screen with one input field. Whatever field I've defined using the parameters keyword, that field is displayed here, so that I can make some input. Okay, so whatever I input here will be transferred to my program and stored in this p underscore user variable. Okay, so the parameters keyword is actually doing two things. It is defining a variable in your program like the data keyword, and it is also generating a selection screen and creating that input field, and it is linking that input field on the screen to my data object, so that whatever you input in that particular input field will be transferred to this particular data object variable. And similarly, if I store something in this variable before that screen is shown, then it will display that on that particular input field on the screen. So the parameters keyword is also defining a variable. It's just that it is doing one extra job of creating the selection screen. So if you want to have a selection screen, then we use parameters. If you don't want a selection screen, you just want to have a variable in your program, then we always use the data keyword. Okay, this is how you define your variables. In short, variables are the data objects, they are named data objects which can have variable data throughout the runtime of the program. So you can store something now and change it to something else later. And you always access the memory that is created when you define this data object by addressing to the name of the memory. Okay, so to store some data or to retrieve the data that is stored in the memory, you always access it by using the name of the memory. That's your variable. The second one is constants. Constants are again named data objects because they also occupy memory in the program, and the keyword that we use to define constants is constants. And as the name suggests, whatever you store in this memory will be constant. So while declaring itself, you have to assign some value to that memory, and that cannot be changed later. So for example, let's say constants, for constants we use this c underscore naming convention. So whenever you are declaring a constant, always say c underscore and then the name of the constant. Let's say c underscore date type d, and for data, using this value addition is optional. If you want, you can assign a default value, but it's not mandatory. Whereas for constants, it is mandatory that while declaring itself, you assign a value. So you have to always use this value addition to assign a value to the constant. So I'll say c underscore date type d value, and I can say 2017 01 01 YYYY MMDD. Okay. Now this is a data object. For example, if I'll remove this. If I simply say write c underscore date, it will print whatever is stored in this memory c underscore date. I'll also remove this parameter statement so that I don't get that selection screen. If I execute this program now, you can see it is printing that date in the output. And as I said in the previous session, there is an internal and external format. So the date has been converted to external format, and we've also seen that type D field is having output length as 8. The length was 8 and output length was also 8. So since it could not accommodate those separators, it truncated them. So it converted the date into my personal settings format dd mm yyyy, but it ignored those separators because there's not enough space for type D. While we are here, if I use something like this, for example, if I print today's date using this variable system field, this has output length as 10. The length is 8 but output length as 10, whereas the predefined type D is having both length and output length as 8. So for the second case, it should print with separators. So here if you see, it is printing with separators. My format is mmdd mm/dd/yyyy. So in this case, it could accommodate the separators, whereas in this case, it could not accommodate the separators, so it ignored them. So constants you define using constants keyword, and while defining them, you assign a value and you cannot change it. But you can access that memory to access that value multiple times in your program, but you cannot change the value. So for example, if I say C underscore date equals to let's say something like this, then if I do a syntax check, it will complain saying that C underscore date cannot be changed. So you cannot change the value in this memory. Now you may wonder, why do we need these constants? I'll give you one example. For example, let's say you have many statements in your program where you are checking if something equals to X, and then you want to apply some logic. Now I'll write that statement. I'll delete this. I'll say if, I'll use one of the available for example, I want to check if this particular user is Kiran, then you apply some logic. And I'll use this statement like this. Now here I'm using a literal to statically check this. So this occupies some memory in the program. So the value I'm typing in single quotes occupies some memory. Let's assume it is occupying some 5 bytes of memory in the program. Now this is one condition I want to check multiple times in my program. So I'll do this at different places in my program multiple times, and each time I'm doing this check, this literal I'm using in single quote is actually occupying 5 bytes of memory in the program. So here it's occupying 5 bytes, here it's occupying 5 bytes, here also it's occupying 5 bytes, right? So if I used it 5 times, it's occupying 25 bytes of memory. I want this value to be reused, but since I'm using single quote, it does not have any name, so I have to type that again and again in my program, and each time I'm doing that, it is occupying some memory. However, if I use constants, I won't be repeatedly occupying the memory, right? For example, if I say constants C underscore name, type C, length 5, value this, then here in the condition, instead of checking for that Kiran in single quotes, I can just check here C underscore name. If vUser equals to C underscore name, there are 2 advantages of doing this. Literally is anyway constant. It doesn't even have a name. So you just type something and it occupies memory, and that's about it. You cannot reuse it, and you cannot change anything or access it again. With constants, it is having a constant value, but when I'm reusing that, it is not occupying a new memory each time I'm using it. It just occupies some 5 bytes of memory when I'm defining it, and later I'm simply comparing that memory. So I'm not occupying any extra memory each time I'm trying to do this comparison. Whereas when I used these literals, then each time I was typing that name, it was occupying some memory in the program. And second thing is, if you have used literals everywhere, now tomorrow if the requirement changes and they say instead of comparing for this value, the logic remains the same, it's just that compare it to a different value. So let's say they want me to compare for my full name. So I'll increase the length to 13 and I'll compare it to my full name. So I just edit it here, and automatically all the statements will now start comparing for my full name. Whereas if I had used literals, then I have to go and edit each statement, each if condition to compare it to a different value, right? So these are few advantages of using constants compared to literals. So generally in companies, they ask you to avoid using single quote. So don't type anything in a single quote. Always, if you want to use a single quote, then instead of that, use a constant. So data creates a variable, constants keyword creates a constant. The difference is variable can have different data at different times in the program flow, whereas constants will always have a fixed value throughout the program runtime. And then the third one is text symbols. Text symbols are not declared within the program code. You don't declare them in the program code. Instead, you use this menu, go to text elements, text symbols, save my program, and here you maintain your text symbols. So you have to give a 3-digit number. You can have up to 1000 text symbols in a program. So it can start from 000 to 999. So I can give a three-digit number and give the name and activate it. You have to remember to activate it. So this text symbol is activated and the number is 000. In my program, if I want to access that text symbol, I can, for example, I want to compare this to that text symbol, whatever I maintain. I can say text hyphen the text number. So I'll say text hyphen 000. Then it will use that text symbol value. So whatever I maintain, whatever text I maintain in that text symbol will be accessed when I use this syntax or use this text hyphen the text number. Now if I activate, again in SAP it supports forward navigation. So if I double click on this number, it will directly take me to that text symbol. So this is the text I maintain. Okay. Again, if you want to use some text, instead of using single quotes like this, you can use text symbols also. Okay. One advantage is that if you are hard coding, whatever you keep in a single quote, we call it hard coding in the program. One example, if you see, SAP system support multiple logon languages. And if I'm showing a message to the user, for example, I have an option where I can simply hard code the message in my program, and whenever the user executes the program, it will display that message. It will work. But if a different user logs into a different language in the system, and if I've hard coded the message in English, then it will always display the message in English only. Even if he's logged into the system in German language, and he may expect the message to be displayed in German language, but it will show English because in my program I've hard coded the message using a literal. If I use text symbols, one advantage is that these text symbols allow you to maintain translation. So if I keep my cursor on the text symbol and click on go to translation, there I can maintain different translations for this message in different languages. So whenever the system is using a text symbol, it will automatically pick up the text symbol maintained in that particular language. If I maintain translation in German, for example, then when the user logs into German language into the SAP system and executes this program, it will automatically pick up the translation I maintained for this text in German, and it will display that to the user. Whereas if you have hard coded it, that won't work. It will always display whatever you hard coded it. Okay, but we also call it data object because this also occupies some memory in your program. So data objects can be named or unnamed. In named data objects, we have variables defined using data, constant defined using constants, and then we have this text symbols that are maintained using the menu go to text elements text symbols. All you have to do is give it some number and maintain your text. And in the program, if you want to access that text, use the syntax text hyphen the text number. Okay. For example, if I say write text hyphen text number, then it will print whatever I maintain in that text symbol. And when I execute this, if I maintain the translation in German, and if I log into the SAP system in German language and I execute, it will print the text in German language. So here it's printing that value. Okay. So these are your named data objects. Then in unnamed data objects, we call them literals. Literals are anything that occupies memory but they don't have a name. Okay. In literals, we have two types: numeric literals and character literals. If you maintain anything in a single quote, that is called a character literal. So if you want to maintain some text or anything, if you use this single quote, we call them character literals. And let's say I have a data object, data v underscore number type n, length 10. Then I can say v underscore number equals to, I can give the number directly 1 2 3 4 5. Here I am giving a number, I am not using a single quote. This is called numeric literal. I am directly typing the number in my code, that is called numeric literal. Whereas if you keep it in a quote, single quote, this we call text literal. So it will be treated as text, whereas type C field, text field. Whereas if I don't use the quote, it will be treated as type N field, numeric field. Okay, so these are numeric fields. Numeric literal, this is numeric literal, whereas this is text literal because I am using a single quote. And character literals can be text field literals, text string literals. Whatever you maintain in a single quote is called text field literal or text literals. And if I use this back quote, if you'll find this back quote on this keyboard before 1, the number 1, we call this tilde. Below that, if you use back quote like this is called a string literal. The only difference is that the single quote one is of character type, type C, whereas this will be of type string. Back quote, if you use back quote, it is type string. That's the only difference. There is no other difference. Okay. So unnamed data objects are called literals. In that we have numeric literals and character literals. Numeric literals are those that you maintain directly in the program, the numbers 0 to 9, and that they can also have plus or minus symbol. And character literals, again there are two types, text field literals and text string literals. So text field literals are those that you maintain in single quotes. Text string literals are those that you maintain in back quotes. Okay, the difference is text field literals are of type C, text string literals are of type string. Okay, so these are your different data objects. Okay, whenever you are creating a program, you can use any one of these data objects as per your requirement. Okay, but most of the times we use variables. So we use these data statements to define these variables most of the times. But again, you should avoid using these literals. So we use constants for that. So whenever you, in any situation in the code, wherever you want to use a literal, instead of using a literal, define a constant and use a constant. Okay. So that's about data objects. See you in the next video.